Hello, welcome back to another video. From this video we'll start HTML form controls. So first we'll understand what is form control, then we'll move to the practical session as well. So now we have to understand that what is form control. In HTML, form controls are elements that allow user to input data and interact with web page. Okay, so I'll discuss about some controls and then we'll move to the practical session. The first one is the you can have the text input control, and it can be a several type. For example, single line text input, password field, it can be multi-line, text area control. There can be a selection control, for example a drop down list or select box. There can be radio buttons, there can be a checkbox. So if you already visited any website and if you have fill up any form, then these are the common fields that you can see. Also there can have the button control, there can be submit button, there can be reset button, there can be general button control, there can be file upload control, from where we can select a file and then we can upload. Also there can be a selection, for example there can be a date and time control. Also there can be a range and the number control. The range control, in the range control there you can only select the range, and in the number control you can select the number only, there no string will be allowed. Okay, also there can be a hidden control, but you have to specify the attribute type equals to hidden on that case. Also you will get different types of color picker. So there you have to use the type equals to color. Also there can be a search input control, there can be email and URL input control. Okay, so this type of form control you will get. Now in this video we'll start with a simple single input control, and then we'll move to the other complex input control slowly. Okay, so as you can see that this one is the basic HTML control. Now first you have to give the label of a input control. So you have to specify the label like this one, and you have to use for, and I'll specify it within a few seconds. Here you have to specify the name. Also you can give the class name, but it is not required for this time being. For example, I want to select or give an input as a name control, then I have to specify here the name control like this, and you can give a simple colon like this way, and after that you have to specify the input control. For example, here you have to specify the input, and then you have to specify the type, what type of input control you want. So here you can specify the text. I want a text control, and the name should be like this way. You can give the name equals to name, specify name, and also you can specify the ID, and ID can be like this way, ID equals to name, and at the end you have to close the as a angle bracket, and then you can specify. Also we have a body, so you don't need body here, we can just delete this way. Okay, and just save it. And as my live server is on, now you can see that here is the label. You can see over here for this section it is giving the label like this, and then it is specifying the a box over here. Here you can type any text 1 2 3 4 5, any special symbol like hash, underscore, like this way. Also you can input here input like 1 2 3 digit. Also you can specify any character or string value like this way. If you want a password field, that is also possible. So let me give a break over here, and again you have to specify here enter, like this, and this time we will use a password over here. So you have to type here password, and then in a similar fashion I want a password. Okay, so instead of this type, here you have to specify the password. The type should be password, not the text, and then here it will be password name, and the ID should be password. So this is the user defined value you can specify. So here the name also user defined, you can give any name. Here the ID also user defined, you can give any text over here. But remember that for this one you have to specify the password, it is required. Also for this input control, this is the text, you have to specify, this is the mandatory field. And in the level section you are this particular level for which name, so we have to give the name over here. Okay, and for this particular password, this is for the this input control, so that is why you have to specify the name over here. Now you can save it. Now as you can see that it is showing over here the password as well. And if you will try to type here anything from the keyboard, then you will be able to see that it is giving the star like this way. It is, you can't see the text within it, but this is the features of the Edge browser. If you'll click over here, you will be able to see the text, but if you'll off it, then user can't see the details whatever present inside it. So now for the appearance, I can give a break, one more break, and now you can see it is showing up perfectly. Also we have another control, that is the multi-line text control. As you can see that if I want to enter multiple line within this, that is not possible. So for that we have a different input control, so that is the multi-line input control. So if we want to use that multi-line, then for that let me copy and let me paste it over here, and let me change here. I want to type one message. Okay, so that is why let me change it to for message, and let me copy it to the name also in the ID section. And here the type should be different. The type, you don't have to specify the input here, you have to specify the text area. And text area is having one opening tags and the closing tags, so that is why after this section you have to end it text area like this way, and within this you can specify any text over here as you can wish. If you wish to write multiple lines, you can do that. So as you can say, if I'll save it, now you can see that you can make it a bigger version as well, and it is having the attribute rows and columns. So for how many lines you want to make it bigger, that you have to specify. So let me, after this ID, I can specify rows like this way, and I can give here like 5 or 6, 7. Let me give you 5, and number of columns attribute you have to specify like 5. Now if you save it, it will automatically take like this way. But if you want to change the number of columns, then you can specify here 7 like this way. Now you can see that it's changed little bit, right? Let me give it like a 17. Now you can see that it is changing the number of column, means in sidewise it is increasing. And remember that in case of text area we don't need type attribute, so you can remove it. Okay, and remember that you can use multiple attributes in the input tag to enhance its functionality. We already discussed about the text, password, and also for the email you can specify the email as well. And remember that for the id we are using the our id over here like this one, right? It provides a unique identifier the element when you will use in HTML and JavaScript to identify this particular control it is required. So it provides a unique identifier for the element. You can use this password id in the CSS as well, in the JavaScript as well. So that is why it is important. So if you are a beginner in the HTML, in your mind you may think that why this id is required, why the class is required, why the name attribute is required. So for each and every attribute there is a requirement, so that is why it is present. Slowly you will learn. Also we have a name attribute. Why this is specifying over here, why you are specifying name over here? Because it specifies the name of the input field used for the form submission. So when we will submit the form to the server side, then this name is required. Okay, also you'll be able to see value attribute will be there to set the default value of the input field. For example, here you can see there is nothing is there, but in this input control if I'll specify the value attribute like this way, and then if we'll specify my name over here, and if I'll save it, you will be able to see that I can set the value of the input control over here directly by default. But in normal case it should be blank, so that is why we don't require this value attribute. Also you can specify the placeholder attribute. For example, let me remove it over here for the sake of simplicity. Now you can use a placeholder like this, and here you can type your name over here, type name like this. So we'll save it. Now you can see that it is in the gray color, but here you can type over here. When you'll type, the text type name will disappear. So like this way you can use the placeholder as well. Other than the placeholder, there is a required attribute also there, which makes the field mandatory. Also there can be a read only, which prevents the user from identity for modifying the input. Also there can be a disable attribute which disable the input field. There can be max length, mean length, there can be size, there can be autocomplete, there can be pattern, spell check. So several numbers of attribute can be there. There can be various types of advanced input control like autofocus, list, there can be tab index, area level, there can be input mode. So there can be several types of attribute can be there, but for the sake of simplicity we have discussed few numbers of attribute. You can explore more attribute in our blog section as well, or you can search it in the internet as well. So this is all about the input control, text input control. In the next video we'll discuss about the selection control as well. Okay, so if you have any question regarding this particular session, like a text input control single line, so the first one is the single line, you have to remember. The second one is the password control, and the third one is the text area multi-line text area control. So thank you for watching this video. See you in the next one. Till then, take care. Bye bye.